All right, peace family. We are live now. Shout out to all the family out there. I've been away for about 4 days. I missed the YouTube family. I just been chilling with the family, my daughter and everything, son, my lady. But I'm back. I am back and I am still black.
Hmm.
I'm here with no other, my brother, my galactic brother, Doctor B. Sirius. Welcome back, my brother. Welcome back.
Man, I'm honored to be here once again, brother.
Indeed, indeed. How you been, man? What's going on? I seen you was doing the drums at the God Fest. What's going on, brother?
Man, it's amazing, man. It is amazing. When you are expecting the best,
Mm-hmm.
when you're focused on being in the place you would like to be, and you're grateful in advance, and
Right.
you're not begging for anything,
Indeed.
you're just being what you must be,
Oh,
great things happen. And right now is one of the most amazing times that I have ever witnessed because it's all happening. It's all accessible. Everything, the
right.
good, the bad, the ugly. You must choose. It's up to you. So,
Indeed.
so I'm choosing great experiences, and they are, man, they're happening.
You know, it's funny you say that. In my mind, I was gonna say, damn, I want to start the show with just telling B that Dr. B that pretty much right now in my life, I'm enjoying being more than doing. And we're taught because I'm an entrepreneur and because we supposed to be out here grinding, we are taught the importance of doing by all the multimillionaires. You got to do, you got to do, you got to do. And that's definitely true. That's definitely true. But one thing I realized in life, Dr. B, before we get into the topic, amazing topic tonight, family, is that being leads to doing, but doing doesn't necessarily lead to being all the time. You could be doing something for 50 years, and doing something doesn't mean you're going to be that person that you are. Like, let's say if you want to be um a good basketball player, right? One of the best basketball players, and you're practicing your shots, you think you're putting in the work. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be the best basketball player unless you consciously be that person in your mind while you're practicing the shots. This is why people who are often the greatest, they say it before the world knows it, because they became it before the world seen it. They embodied it. So I'm just realizing the importance of being, not just doing, but being as well as doing. And it's been beautiful this year. And I know we got an important topic tonight. I just want to say that I know we got an important topic tonight. The whole family could benefit from tonight's show. I want y'all to get your pens and paper. Dr. B's about to take y'all to school. Classes in session. Dr. B.
I'd like to tag on to what you just said because it is a part of what we're covering. So we keep hearing about being, but a lot of us, because of our programming, we were trained to see it first. See it in your mind.
Right.
See yourself there. That comes from a person who lives in a mind of logic. Logic is based on things in the past. Logic is based on
something you can analyze, right?
Something you can analyze that has happened before.
Yeah.
But what we realized in school, that it wasn't about seeing first. It was about being, right? Because you could be in the sight of something. You could see it in your mind now. But the most powerful thing is to feel it. Be in the feeling now as if it's happening.
Right.
Instead of waiting and thinking about what it could be. Interesting thing, when I was over at UCLA years and years ago, I went over and hung out in the biomed labs when I was teaching over there, right? And I asked one of the scientists, this is one of the top scientists in the world. And I said, what do y'all know for sure? He said, what do you mean? I said, tell me in the scientific world, what do you know for an absolute fact? He said, actually, Nothing.
Nothing, huh? Yeah.
He says we have theories, we have theorems, we have ideas. There's books, there's volumes, there's libraries, encyclopedias, there's writings, but they all are based on perception.
Right.
They're not actual facts. So they really don't understand fire completely. Fire is a living creature. And you know what's deep about fire? Fire sings and makes a sound. Fire puts out a frequency of between 10 and 12 hertz. And at 10 and 12 hertz, it's like, you know, you're sitting around a fire, right? Everybody's watching the fire. And all of a sudden, there's a point usually around the fire that people get quiet because fire begins to vibrate at this level that says everything's going to be all right. You're warm. I got you. It brings your frequency down so that you can relax. And the fire begins to speak to you. When you go to the ocean begins to speak to you. But it's not speaking to you vision first. It's the feeling and feeling that ocean spray and that water. And when you're by the fire, feeling that heat, it's the feeling. It is us being kinesthetic, auditory, visual versus visual, auditory, kinesthetic. We learn to be visual because of the people who basically trained everybody and taught everybody, gave us books. We also learned to read from the left-hand side of the page to the right. That wasn't natural for most indigenous people. We also learned to read from the top of the page to the bottom. That wasn't natural for most indigenous people. We learned that. So we began to operate from the analytical brain over to the intuitive brain. We begin to change the way the natural frequency, the natural order of things. So when we're in that world, they say, what would you like? See it in your mind. And you're seeing it, but you don't have it until you feel it. You have to feel it as if it's happened. Even with herbs, you can go buy an herb because you heard that, you saw it on a page, what the attributes are. It's supposed to do this, olive leaf does all of these great things, and you buy the olive leaf. First of all, a lot of times because of our mindset, we go buy the cheapest olive leaf we can find. They got one that's $40 and they got one that's $4.99. A lot of folks want the $4.99. It's olive leaf. Well, it is, but where is it from? What type of energy does it vibrate with? When you have gone just with the sight or the words that have read, you're given information to your intelligence, you're missing half of it. If you go and you buy or you purchase or you pick olive leaf, because it grows everywhere, and you already feel in your mind what it does, it works much better. If you're waiting for the thing to do something for you because somebody told you that's what it does and you don't feel it as if it's already happened, you're missing out on half of the effects. This is a deep science, man. But, the science that we have been taught, the Western science says that it's all about seeing it. It's all about intelligence. Intelligence is about information from the past. That's information from the past saying that things always repeat themselves and they're going to happen the same way, and they don't. So when you're in the mindset of feeling something first, feel it as if it's happened. So if it's health, we're going through health challenges, right? You have to get to the point where you could feel yourself being healthy. Feel it as if it's happening. Go into your mindset. It's almost like, actually it is. Using your imagination is the most powerful thing that there is. So as we're even talking about herbs tonight and medicines and spices and all of these things that we use to keep us healthy, you have to be able to feel it. Feel what result it is that you'd like so that you can direct the plant to direct your body into absorbing it into the place that you need it. This science is deep, man. And in the Western world, we're taught we need evidence and write the evidence down. So some plants that you go take, some products you take don't do anything. Everybody said, oh my God, that, if I take this particular herb, it's going to do this. It doesn't do anything. It has the potential to do a lot of things, But you have to have the mindset and feel it as if it's already happened, which means you have to live on the event horizon. The event horizon means that I'm not just waiting on the sun to rise. I'm feeling it before it's happened. You have to be able to attract what it is you desire by being it. So you'd like the great love life. Well, you have to be it first. You have to vibrate. Like I asked one of my clients the other day, and she's looking for a man, and she has this whole list of what he needs to be. I said, well, would you date yourself? She says, well, I got a lot to work on. That's why I need a man to help me work on it. I said, see, a lot of times we're trying to attract something we're not. If you are it in your mind and you ponder on it, and your thoughts and feelings are repetitious, and the repetition of pleasure and pain is what programs your mind. It's that repetition. So when you use an herbal substance, a spice, an herb, you, in order to get the best out of it, must already feel it's going to happen. Don't call me and say, Dr. B, do your herbs work? No, they don't. They're not going to work for you because you're waiting to be saved. You're waiting for something to happen. You're waiting to exhale. You're waiting to release. You're waiting to have the healing instead of being it. The most powerful thing that I learned in herbalism was about you must feel it already. You must accept it already. You can't doubt it. You can't wait to have actual proof. You have to become the proof, because science says they don't know anything for sure. So it's all happening in a matrix in your mind, and everything right in your subconscious, everything that your subconscious perceives, it says it's in us. The subconscious can't perceive or conceive of anything outside of self. Your subconscious cannot perceive or conceive of anything outside of self. This is a deep comment. This is a deep statement. So right now, I'm being amazing. I've never been here before. I'm having Vuja Day. Vuja Day is when you don't, what the heck is that? I've never been here before. That's one of my own creations, Vuja Day.
Here you go again. Yeah.
But when you're in that space and you're allowing yourself to be attractive, you're allowing yourself to be healthy, and you're feeling it as if it happens, man, after a while, you get into the rhythm of that and it starts happening because your reticular activating system, right, which is in your brain, it's going to work to give you evidence of what you expect. And what do you expect? Whatever you're talking about, whatever you're focusing on. You expect it to be bad in the world because somebody been, you heard in the news how bad it was. And guess what? It gets worse. You heard a certain plant don't work. I don't believe in herbs. Like, my doctor told me one time, Brother Rich.
What?
The medical doctor told me. I said, well, I'm going to take some herbs for that. He said, oh, no, herbs don't work. I said, they don't? How do you know? He said, because if they did, we would have studied them in school. I said, well, what school did you go to? He tells me his school. I says, how did you go to school? Wasn't that pretty expensive? You was a poor white boy. What happened? He said, well, this company paid for my education. Come to find out, a drug company paid for his education. So his mindset and everything is based on the drugs, the pharmaceuticals. Mm-hmm. I said, well, listen, how do you know the herbs don't work? He said, there's been no human trials. What is a human trial? You got thousands and thousands and thousands of years of evidence of people using this because that's all they had until a couple hundred years ago. But what is a human trial? Then we got into the word human and what that really means. And a lot of us are not really humans. We call ourselves humans, but we're beings. We're super beings.
There you go. Talk to him, B.
We're not just regular people. If you're here right now super on this show, you're not a regular person.
Super beings. I like that.
We're working and moving towards being superconductors. A superconductor is an element that can give all of its energy out and lose none. And lose none. That means you can go and work hard all day, play ball, swim, jump, and come home and still have all of your energy and you don't get tired. You know why we get tired? Because we believe in being tired. We believe in it. We believe that, man, I worked all day. I'm tired. I got to sleep all night. There's things that you can do to build your system up where you don't easily tire. You might need to rest a bit, but when you become a superconductor and you're doing what you love and you're passionate, you don't get tired. You could be up all night playing music. I'll be up all for days in the studio working on new music. I don't get tired. You see? Because I'm focusing on the end result as if it's already happened. And I'm excited about it. And I can feel it. Feel it as if it's already happened. So when it comes to plant medicine, herbs, minerals, nutrition, first, before you take the product, it would be best to get in the mindset of feeling it in your mind as if whatever result you like has already happened. And only thing that the herb or the mineral or the food is going to do is meet you where you are.
Let me ask you this real quick, Dr. B. How does a person know which product is going to give them that feeling? I want you to tell the people that there might be 10 products there. How do they know which product will give them permission to have that feeling of well-being and health if they got 10 products to choose from?
Well, I use kinesiology, muscle testing. Because with kinesiology, your body has a frequency that matches what it desires. Each one of those products that might, don't even think about the price. Just think about which one is calling you. Which one are you feeling? So a lot of us are able to just have a gut feeling. It might be the gut feeling that calls you. Yeah. But when you use muscle testing or kinesiology, the body never lies. So I'll actually do the muscle testing technique right there in the aisle. Some people use pendulums. Some people actually do a muscle test with their fingers, or they do a thing where they put the product up against them. And if they lean back, that means one thing. If they lean forward. So there's ways to find out what's aligned with you. Even though the product may be great, that particular product may not be aligned with you. We just finished a course, which is over at our website, elevationtime.com. It was a 4-part course on kinesiology. Personal kinesiology, to me, is the most powerful thing you could possibly use to get to where you'd like to go. It cuts to the chase. It's not about your head and your intelligence and how much you've read and how much you believe and how many theories and theorems you have and how many perceptions you have, and how many politics and prophecies in your mind. You understand what I'm saying? It's about what's connected to you. So with personal kinesiology, you're able to test. So let's say when I'm in the lab making a formula, it's brand new. I've never made it before. I can actually do a test. And I'll say, well, how many tablespoons of this? And I'm not sure. So I'll do a test. Is 1 tablespoon enough? Or 1 tablespoon is enough? And I get a week. 5 tablespoons is enough. Week. 25 tablespoons is enough. Strong. I just was told by the universe, by the Akasha. I tapped in and asked what was best for this particular formula. But you have to ask a first person positive present tense question. When you're able to do that, you can't ask a disagreeable question of the universe. In the kinesiology class, Brother Rich, one of the questions people often ask when they learn the technique, one of the first things they ask is, what do you think they ask, Rich? What do you think? They want to know something they could get a yes or a no from. What would you think? Brother Rich, you there? Brother Rich is gone. A lot of people in the muscle testing class, the first thing they ask is my lover cheating on me? And the muscle test says yes. Then they ask the question, do I love myself? It says no. Do I believe in God? No. Why are we getting these answers? Because there's a technique for getting the correct yes or no based on who you are at the time. It has to do with the Kundalini, which is that life force energy, how it flows. It has to do with your eye position, has to do with your arm position, your countenance. So there's very special techniques to get a yes or a no. So when I'm working in the laboratory, I'm not going to go by what the school book says to use this to make this formula, use these things in this many cups. I'm going to go with what's aligned for right now, this particular time, and me. So every time I make a formula, right? So let's say I've got some formulas I've been making for 20 years. Every time I make it, it's different because I'm going to test the day I make it to see if that particular product is in alignment, or if the herbs I'm using right now are in alignment for this time. So all of the products that I create right now are in alignment for this particular time in 2025, which is a 9 vibration, which means all the formulas have to change. Then we just had a big alignment, which is still happening. You know, all the planets aligned for the first time, and I forgot how many years. That alignment that's happening with the planets is affecting what you're about to make. It affects all the fluid on the planet, all the liquid, all the earth, every seed, you know, every crystal. It all changes. The plants in the garden, they're changing because of these alignments. They change everything. Once you begin to realize that nothing is exactly the same, they don't understand anything for sure. It's always changing. One thing about change is it's always happening. So it's about being in alignment. You know, one of the things I teach when I teach herbalism is I teach folks how to be metaphysically in alignment with what they're doing. It's not about how much the recipe calls for. That's why you can get grandma's recipe. You got grandma's recipe book. Oh, you're so happy. You're going to make grandma's, you know, special apple upside down, pumpkin, strawberry, pineapple cake. And it lays it out how grandma made it. When you make it, it might be good. It never tastes like grandma's. Why? Because there's a secret ingredient called grandma. So you are not grandma. You have some of grandma in you because that's where your ancestors are inside you. But you're not her in her entirety the way she was. But if we would ask the question while we're making the formula, grandma used a tablespoon of vanilla. And you might say a tablespoon of vanilla is good. And for you, it might say a tablespoon and a half is best. You're tapping into you. We invest a lot of time tapping into other people's business, and we're living in a time of mass distraction. Especially with social media and the news, it's all about distracting you. The average person is not full of themselves. And when you get full of yourself, then people think, oh, you're full of yourself. Who do you think you are? So you're never full of yourself because you feel you need to be in alignment with the group. You need to be down with the rest of the sheep on the farm instead of being an indivisible individual. When you're an indivisible individual, everything you are doing is unique, and you have to figure out what's in alignment for you. That's the personal kinesiology. When you learn the technique, and you know, in class number 2 in personal kinesiology was really deep because it's all questions about you, questions you have to ask yourself. Folks were like, man, this was like 3.5, 4 hours worth of questions. I got tired. I just want to get down and learn the technique. Well, guess what? When you learn the technique, because you haven't asked these questions of yourself and you haven't aligned yourself with yourself, for yourself, by yourself, then you're out of alignment. This is where the term, you know, minding your business and businessing your mind. What is your business? Get your business in your mind. Then stop watching other people. Stop judging other people. Stop listening to other people. Unless they are people who are really helping to guide you and they don't, you know, it's not like a transactional relationship where they want something. So when we're working with herbs, we're working with waters, we're working with recipes, you have to first, what they call it with the Moors, stand on your square, be in your circle, be in yourself. Now, all of a sudden, your muscle test is going to tell you which one of those products on the shelf is for you. And it's a feeling. And a lot of times it's the one that price is expansive.
Hey, Doc.
Yes.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
All right. So the majority of our day, for most of us, we're outside working, moving around, shopping, grocery shopping, picking someone up, picking the kids up. We spend a lot of time outside the majority of our day, moving around. We usually come home 8 nights to retire and get some rest or whatever. During the day that we're outside, it's hard for a lot of people to tap into their spiritual nature because they will look crazy doing it outside. It's something called, you know, you're worried about how you look outside. Like, let me give you an example. I seen a white dude in Whole Foods, and he must have been doing muscle testing or something with the food, he was like, he looked like he was making love to the shit. I'm like, what the hell is he doing? And I said, oh, he doing one of that shit Dr. BB talking about. He probably seeing how it feel and the muscle testing it and shit like that. So he didn't really care what anybody thought about him when he was doing what he's doing. But probably 8 out of 10 people would not do what that white gentleman did and fear that they will look like a damn lunatic in Whole Foods holding up a piece of mushroom in one hand, and in the other hand they're lifting up their arms. It's like whatever it is that he was doing, it was like somewhere around muscle testing. What advice would you give to people, since we're the majority of the time we're outside, about people who are fearful of looking crazy? And there's many examples of people might be scared to say affirmations. They may be scared to say thank you. They may be scared to dance. Whatever. What advice would you give to us? Because I fall victim to that sometimes, and I know 80% of the people do or more. What's your advice, my brother?
First of all, you have to get to this place where you're not concerned with what other people think about you. A lot of people are not successful or don't stretch out and do the thing that they really could do because of other people. What are they going to think? What are they going to feel? And first of all, you don't know what anybody else truly thinks. You might think you know what they think. Well, I think this dude told me one time, he said, well, Dr. B, man, let me tell you, man, I think that you think that I think that you think. I'm whoa. I don't even know what we're talking about. You don't know what anybody else thinks or feels. And it's really none of your business. If you could get to the point where you have courage and you're standing on the earth strongly, you won't care. You got to get in a space to be totally unique to be able to get off the farm. You got to become the black sheep. The black sheep don't care about what the white sheep is doing. You have to get to the point. There's times and I'll break out a pendulum right in the store. And the people are looking at me. Let them look. I'm not worried about what they think, because you will fail at becoming totally successful if you're always looking for validation for other people, worried about what they got to say, what they think, what they may gossip about. You don't care. Let them think whatever they want to, what they're going to think. Let them. And what you need to do is let me do what I need to do. Because when you learn how to do this muscle testing technique, everything changes. Everything changes. You can choose relationships, cars. You know, I was looking at a car one time and it was the car that I wanted. And I did the muscle test and it kept saying no, kept saying no, kept saying no. I said, but this is the car I want. I've been thinking about this car every day. So my brother told me, he says, well, go, he told me to do this little thing with the car because, he's a mechanic. And he's on the telephone. And he says, start the car up. I'm sitting in the car. This is the car I desire. I got the money. And he says, let me hear it. And he says, don't buy that car. He said, piston number 3 is not firing correctly. It's either got a blah, 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 blah. He starts running it down. I thought it was the car for me, but I don't know enough about cars. My brother's the car whisperer. So what I did was, I said, wow, the muscle test technique that I wanted to override said no. And I kept asking, there is a better car for me. Yes. About 4 days later, another car pops up, the perfect car. But when we get into being ourselves and get out of this crowd, this whole thing, well, this is what we do if we conscious. I got to have this kind of earring. I got to wear these kind of clothes. I'm worried about what they're going to think if I quit the group. You are caught up in the crowd, and most people are domesticated like animals. Most people, I don't care how smart they seem and how many books they can, they can run off and how good they look. When you're in yourself, you don't care. I don't care what they say about Dr. B. I don't care. Somebody told me the other day, one of our leading leaders in the conscious community told me, well, Dr. B, you be making a joke of this, health and all this kind of stuff. And, I don't think, he was telling me basically he didn't enjoy me having fun with this. I told him, I said, wow, that's bad, huh? He says, yeah, I don't think that's too good, but it's not a good look. I said, wow, thank you. You're right. I said, I apologize for whatever I may have said or done to cause you to feel that way. I'm going to take it under consideration. Basically, what I did was what? The art of war. I'm going to agree with you. I said you're right. I didn't say you were correct. If I said you were correct, that's different. I said you're right. You're self-righteous in what you believe. People are self-righteous in what they believe. People will have you off course and lose your mind and have you crazy. So what? I'm a lunatic. That's why I do things outside under the moonlight. I'm crazy. That's right. And I've always been this way. I do what I do. I don't copy other people's music. I'm not trying to sample their stuff. I'm not trying to, do what they did. I don't need to read the book on success. Because how do you have a book on success when success is different for every person? What we're doing right now is we're in a place we've never been, and you're going to have to tap into yourself. And one good way to do it is to use herbal medicines and things that see, and what these things do is they assist you at getting home within yourself. And there's no place like home.
Good.
When your own self, your own home is not centered.
Your home frequency.
Your home frequency. You can't home. You ain't homie. You ain't homie. You ain't right. Because you're worried about what other people think and what they feel. There's a lot of other people who do, things that are similar, or some of my colleagues, they're not really down with me. They got something to say. I don't care what you say. I don't care what family says. That's this. I'm here to do what I can. Each one of us is here to do something totally unique. And if you just hear as a copy, let me tell you, Brother Rich, I used to be in a top 40 band, right? Mm-hmm. And I got to the point where I was like, I can't do this. We just playing the same old songs. You got to learn the song just like it was, and to try to make the people dance. I quit. Then I went out with the African drummers. We in the park. They're playing these ancient African rhythms. Me, I'm playing a different rhythm with the ancient rhythm. You know what they do? They mind Dr. B. We don't want you coming here anymore. Why? Because you don't play the ancient rhythms the way they were. I said, well, look, who made the rhythm? Who made the law that I can't change this rhythm and play what I would like to play with it? Because I'm here to do what the ancestral realm, what the beings, the cosmic beings have me doing. I'm here to be totally unique. The thing is that because of how I live, I'm able to tap into the superconductor in me. I am the captain of my ship. When you get deep into your eye disappears and you become we, and you become a universe. You're responsible for your universe. It's not just you. It's everything in you. And you're here to be unique. So we don't just, follow. But when you're using certain supplements, you see what I'm saying? Just a few minutes ago, let me tell you, I took Shilajit. Shilajit Complete. Now, you keep hearing about Shilajit, right?
Oh, yeah, everywhere. Yeah, about it everywhere, yeah.
Shilajit is everywhere. Did you know, first of all, for those who don't know, Shilajit is a substance that is made, it's basically a type of humic acid from India, which means that it's years and years of plant matter that's been broken down and digested by the earth, basically. Okay. It's on the way to being coal. It's on the way to being oil. It's part of the humus. When this particular stuff bubbles up, people all over the world, they use it. It has all the minerals and all the energy of the area. All the plants that grew there, it has all of the energy of the plants and the earth in that area. Shilajit is specifically from India and that area. Another name for Shilajit is Conqueror of Mountains. The Conqueror of Mountains, because it has every mineral and all the energies of Mother Earth in it, you become strong. The Conqueror of Mountains, it makes you courageous. A lot of folks got issues saying no because they're afraid. If I say no, if I stand up for myself, they're going to talk about me and they're going to be mad. You take some Shilajit, you'll be saying no all day. Because if you say no enough times in certain situations, a big yes is going to come about. So when I'm walking into a situation where I need to be strong and firm, I'll take Shilajit. But most of the Shilajit that you're getting from India is used to pull heavy metals and toxins out of the soil. If they're going to build a grocery store, and there used to be a gas station there. You know, they got to take all that dirt, and they take all the dirt somewhere to clean it. How do you clean dirt? They take the dirt and they run it through this machine or this process where it mixes it with Shilajit. Shilajit sucks all the toxins out of the soil. Then they separate it. Now you got all this Shilajit that's full of sheet, right? And they sell it. The average Shilajit on the market, if you test it, is full of toxins, full of poisons, because they used it to extract the poisons from soil. What? Yes. And in India, you know, you got a lot of marketing going on over there. They'll sell you anything. Since y'all want it and you want the cheap one, you go online and look up Shilajit. You see it from $5 up to, you know, couple $100 for the same size. Why? Because the ones that usually are more expensive in price, they have been tested for heavy metals, for poisons, for toxins. Just because it's Shilajit does not mean that it's not full of toxins. So I started testing Shilajit because I use Shilajit in several products, but mainly, you know, we have this new product, which is just Shilajit Complete. And we found the 3 best Shilajits from around the world. One of them is from a cave in Russia. They call the product Mumia. Mumia means conqueror of mountains. No, I'm sorry. Mumia means medicine of the Moors. It drips down the stalactites in these caves. And on top of the cave is dandelion and red clover. So this Shilajit, this thick black substance that's dripping, is broken down of dandelion and red clover that's thousands of years old. It's very potent. It's in a cave. It's in the Altair region of Russia. That's one special type of humic acid, which is called Shilajit in India. But we found the 3 best sources that have been tested. And then we said, you know, this is something that I was taking. I said, you know, the people might like this. So we created this product called Shilajit Complete, because everybody wants Shilajit, but you don't know if you can test it. I don't know anybody that's done a muscle test on this particular Shilajit and gone weak. In fact, if for those of you out there who know how to do muscle testing right now, you could look at this product right now and do the muscle test. That's how muscle testing works. You could do it across the miles. You can do it anywhere. You can do it at a distance and test and see if something is in alignment with you. So when you have all the right minerals in your body, because that's what your body really wants or really desires, then you become strong and you become yourself. You become independent and you're not waiting for other people to choose you. You choose yourself. Are you waiting to be chosen? You waiting to be saved? You got to save yourself. You got to handle your stuff. And check this out. We always learn something new. And then we want to go tell everybody else. You haven't even learned it yet. You haven't even used it good yet. You want to tell everybody else. Why? You're not even doing the thing yet all the way. But you would like some, you want confidence from other people. Oh, they down with me too. We all going to the class. We all going to Brother Rich's thing. There was a lot of people at the event, the 9 Ether God Fest, that was there by themselves. There was people there from all over. People came from Canada. Somebody came from across the seas. You know, those people weren't waiting on other people to say they needed to be there. If you needed to be at the 9 Ether God Fest, you're going to get there no matter what. Because there was something there for you. There was a poem, there was a song, there was a product, there was a relationship that you needed to be there for. But you can't wait and ask other people. When people come to me and say, Dr. B, do your herbs work? I say no, because you don't already believe it. You're not in yourself. You're not strong in yourself. What we have to do now is become strong in ourselves. How do you do it? Well, we're actually teaching it. How to trust yourself. Your body never lies. I don't even know if I answered the question, Brother Rich. I'm on a tangent. You there? Brother Rich? Brother Rich is off with the children. So, I got into herbalism not for business. I got into herbalism because I had become out of balance and sick in the music industry. And they gave me some terrible news. I had an autoimmune system imbalance that they said was one of the worst they had seen. It was very rare. And they said, well, if you had cancer, we could help you better than we can what you got. But I had been under so much stress and I had been divided. And I was being told how to make a record, what to put in the record. They were giving us these programs to put in music in the mastering process that program people. When I realized, I said, wait a minute, what is this code? This code is going to make people agitated. People buy stuff when they're agitated. It's going to make people fight. It's going to make people divided from themselves. It's going to make people become separate from their conscious and subconscious. It's going to make them move away, right, from their original self and be alone and be agitated and be mad. Basically, the music, the commercial music that was being mastered by master, you heard that? Mastered by master, was being programmed. It could have been the best love song there is. In it, they were putting a program in there to cause destruction, to cause people to be erratic, to cause people to do things that they never would do if they were in themselves, if they were solid in themselves. But through mass distraction with frequencies and everything, they begin to divide the people through songs. Almost all the songs, somebody said, what song? Almost all the music that was that's commercially released has these frequencies in it. And I began to study the frequencies. I said, something's off in this music. And I realized that they were natural frequencies that we used to use, you know, like the solfeggio tones and the 528s and the 432s and 417. There's a whole group of them, right? That were frequencies that were in tune with the earth. They were in resonance with the earth. And the 440 frequency that we were all tuned up to was not a natural frequency that we would use back in the old days, because they were frequencies that would downgrade us and, you know, not cause you to be your best self. So after realizing that the industry that I was in was not one that was going to help us rise, I became sick because I was being controlled by an industry that controls people. And I was being forced under duress to make music. And that's all music. You may be saying, well, that was just hip hop. No, I'm talking about almost every type of music that you can think of that goes to the mastering lab. They put frequencies in it. And these frequencies cause us to be off from who we used to be. And we're never able to open up the DNA that we have. It's called the junk DNA. Yes.
So if, let's say they say Rockefeller, he was one of the main people that changed the tuning internationally and globally to 440. Because, you know, different places use different, had different tuning. And they wanted to make a standard tuning, so they changed it to 440 in 1939. Some of the best music that we have heard in our lifetime came from the 70s, the 60s, 70s, 80s, Marvin Gaye, Earth, Wind and Fire, Diana Ross. All of these was in 440, but it was the most beautiful music that the world has, Michael Jackson. So if 440 is so dangerous, some of our best music came from 440, Doc.
First of all, most of soul music, yes, it used 440, but we were doing something called bending the notes. Bending the notes, playing chord clusters and playing the music in such a rhythm and putting so much emotion and energy and passion into it that it actually slightly changed the frequency.
That's deep.
Based on how, if you listen to, let's say, anything that Ashford and Simpson did.
Yeah.
This is two people on the stage. You could go see them live. And when they would sing such a harmony that you'd hear three notes. They could hit these harmonics.
Yeah.
You'd hear three notes. It's only two people singing, but you'd hear three notes. And it wasn't no auto-tune and extra computer and singers in the backstage. How are they doing it? They're bending the notes. Donny Hathaway He was bending the notes. Do you see what I'm saying? Most of that music, they were bending the notes, and some of that music, they were retuning all the instruments to better frequencies that felt good to the people. A lot of people. You know, you got Michael Jackson. They were changing the tunings. And here's another thing. They gave us this food, so quote unquote, on the plantation. That was the worst food. This was non-food. This was the worst of the worst. What did we do? Now remember, sounds, frequencies, taste, all of them are based on frequency. And frequency is how frequently something happens. What did we do? What turned this garbage into soul food? What turns chitlins, hog mogs, and I don't know what a mog is yet to this day. What did we do? We changed the frequency with spices and herbs. Spices and herbs, which is medicine. Just the seasonings that we have in our cabinet are so powerful. It's amazing if you know how to use the seasonings in your cabinet so that you could take something that normally would taste bland or be garbage or you'd puke if you ate it and turn it into an amazing food and call it soul food. What made it soul food was the soul of the people tapping into the soul of the plants and mixing it and churning it and changing the frequency of it. So even though it's poison, they could turn a poison into a medicine. That's alchemy. That's how we made it. How people say, well, those foods were killing us. Well, look, a lot of us people, it's folks that ate that food right now that's still on the planet that's 110 years old. What did they do? It's the frequency. You could change the frequency of anything. Let me tell you, some of my friends, they eat the quote unquote best diet. They're vegans, breatharians, fruitarians, but they got a bad attitude. They got an acidic attitude. The ego is huge. You know what I'm saying? They're narcissistic. It's just a whole thing, and they're judgmental, and they live in victimhood. They vote victocrat. It's always about somebody else doing something to them. And everything that happens is a conspiracy. Everything, no matter what. Oh man, it's raining out. Oh man, see, that's a conspiracy, man. Everything is a conspiracy. Everything. It's because it's easier for us to blame somebody else than look into ourselves. Because even though it's raining for you, somebody else, that rain is an amazing thing that's feeding the garden today. It has to do with how you bend the notes. So yeah, you could play in 440 and move this music in such a way. But what happened was when we started getting into the groove, they came up with sequencers in music. And we started using the button called the quantize button.
Damn, you breaking this down, Doc. Hey, you know your mic distorting. You sound like an alien.
1, 2, 1.
Not all the time, but every now and then it distorts.
How I sound right now?
You sound like you're on a radio or something like that.
How I sound right now?
You sound fine now.
Okay. We came up with this thing called a sequencer, which anybody could make music and push the button called quantize, and it would be right perfect on the beat. When you're right perfect on the beat, and if all the music is locked to that grid, it no longer really has soul. It's soulless. It doesn't have a feel. Unless you know how to bend, because there's also, you have different levels and different types of quantizing templates, right? And you could bend the music so that it feels a certain way. But a lot of the music, it became easy for people who weren't really musicians to make music by just telling the computer to fix it. Like right now, artificial intelligence, it's records on the radio, right? On Spotify, whatever. It's no artist. It's all artificial intelligence. You see, artificial intelligence has been around a long time. When you are not tapping into the true soul of things, if you're not really in improvisation mode, if you're not really able to stand in the place of being yourself and be totally unique and tap into your true inner creativity and artist, you begin to just create this loopy music, this loopy sound. And then if you start using the same spices on food, it becomes loopy. The same herbs, it's probably like 15 herbs that most people take, because they don't know about the combinations of herbs and how to bend the flavors. People say, "Oh, Dr. B, you know, your herbs taste amazing. How do they taste so good? What's making them taste that good?" It's because I'm putting soul into them. I'm putting music and vibration into them. Because I'm standing in the place of being totally unique and I'm not following anybody. And each one of us has the power to do this, but we have to get out of the place of being fearful. And, you know, you're making new music and you're trying to make it sound like somebody else. You're trying to cook food, make it taste like somebody else. You're trying to listen to the words about health and you're using the same words everybody else uses and the same energy. So you never get to tap into your total uniqueness. Some of the things that I did in the past, I don't even know how I did them. I can't copy them. I'm in a brand new place. Did I answer the question, Brother Rich?
Yeah, definitely. Let's get to what's in our kitchen, Doc. What's in our kitchen, man? Because you got us excited about these spices and everything that we need to start using.
Well, you know, what's in your kitchen is soul. If you walk in the kitchen fully aware and you're ready to be totally unique, the soul just walked in. Which spices you use has to do with which beings in the universe you call on. So each spice has a certain flavor. That means it has a certain spirit, a certain energy, a certain soul.
Give me an example, Doc. Give me an example. Come on, give me an example of this.
Holy basil.
Okay.
Let's just talk about basil for a minute.
Yes. Okay.
Basil is used probably, it's one of the most used herbs in the kitchen because it has a certain flavor, has a certain feeling. It's connected to the mint family. So they have a certain smell too. When you rub on them, you touch them. They add energy to your palate. And that energy, it just takes over your whole, it takes the food to a different level. The basil that we get at the grocery store, most of it is not natural basil anymore, because what they've done is they've put radiation on it. They've irradiated it to try to get rid of any toxins that could be on it, any poisons. The way they've processed it and dried it out is not natural. They didn't lay it out in the sun. They got machinery to chop this up and put these in these bottles as quickly as possible. So the basil that is in the grocery store is not as powerful as the basil that you could grow in your yard, or the basil that says organic, or basil that you're going to get from your farmer's market. All of those basils are attempting to be like holy basil. Holy basil is amazing. Holy basil feels different. It smells different. And you could just put a little bit in your pot or whatever you're cooking, because holy basil taps you in to being pure and relaxing. It helps your hormones. It connects to hormones because hormones are chemical messengers. So hormones are sending messages to different parts of your body and telling them how to react. What holy basil is, it's one of the greatest adaptogens. An adaptogen is an herb or a substance that adapts to the environment that it's in. When you put holy basil in your pot, it adapts to the environment and it brings the best energy possible in from the universe, because these plants are channels bringing in light from different realms. Plants are actual living beings. They're alive. Even if they're dry, they still have the energy signature. So when we were going through whatever we were going through in, you know, when it was tough times in cooking, we had to make something that tastes terrible, taste good. We use things like holy basil to bring the life force into them, to wake up the kundalini in us so that we could, and your palate, your tongue is very important, because your tongue sends a signal to your body about what's about to happen. So some herbs are bitter, some are sweet, some are pungent, some are warm, some are hot, some are cold. And each one of them is channeling a special energy. So when you're in that kitchen and you're creating a dish, you would like to call into the realm, into the Akasha, and ask for a certain type of energy to influence the food. Soul food. In fact, if you go, the difference between different cultures is the spices they use a lot of times. You might use the same foods, the same bases. You know what I'm saying? But it's the way they arrange the seasonings. The seasons, like, you have winter, summer, spring, they're different. Seasonings are seasoned. What season would you like to have in this particular dish? So a lot of people use turmeric. Did you know turmeric, a lot of folks have studied, it has all these anti-inflammatory powers. Actually, it doesn't have that until you put it with pepper. When you put turmeric, which is a cousin of ginger is the original. There's an offshoot called turmeric, which is, we now know it's a lot of qualities that it has for some. Some folks can't tolerate it at all. It's not for everybody. No food is for everybody. No herb is for everybody. It only comes online when you use one of the peppers. It needs that pepperine. It has that spiciness, which activates it. Folks be taking, turmeric like crazy. Turmeric is one of the hottest selling things out there.
Right. Mm-hmm.
If you don't put it with pepper, it don't do much. When you're cooking a dish, and let's say you use, I'm actually creating a whole thing for you right now. Basil and turmeric with, say, cayenne pepper. That flavor palette right there brings on a state, an energetic state, and you just turn your food into medicine. A lot of the food that we're cooking and the spices that we're using are medicinal herbs. All of the spices are medicinal. Every single one of them is medicinal. Even vanilla. Did you know that vanilla is a orchid? The orchids, the flower? Yeah. Vanilla beans comes from orchids. A certain orchid makes a vanilla bean. Vanilla is tapped into a realm in the universe where that flavor is so influential, just a little bit in your food changes everything. If it's something, especially if it's a pie or a cake or cookies or something, just a little vanilla. But did you know that vanilla doesn't come all the way online till you add salt? Even if it's something sweet, to make it sweeter, you use salt. You may say, well, no, I'm using, coconut sugar. In order to make that as sweet as it could be, you got to use salt. Because when you use salt and vanilla, there's a chemical reaction that happens. And that chemical reaction touches on to your tongue. Your tongue sends a message to your brain sends a message to your glands, and it makes a harmonic response in your hormones. Everything in your kitchen that you're using as a spice has the potential to be an amazing medicine. Right. Cayenne. Do you know how powerful cayenne, especially if it's the strong cayenne, which they call African bird pepper? A person could be having a heart attack or a stroke, and you take a teaspoon or even a half a teaspoon of cayenne, or just take the shaker and shake it in their mouth. It'll stop a heart attack. It will stop the stroke because the blood vessels open quickly and let blood in quickly. Plus, the person was having a heart attack, and you put cayenne in their mouth, and they wake up, stop having a heart attack, so they could cuss your ass out. You probably say that's a joke. No, that heat, you have shocked them into a whole nother dimension. But there's many types of cayenne, right down to paprika. Paprika is actually a very light baby cayenne, where they took the heat out of it because somebody couldn't handle the heat. So they crossbred it and bred it down to get paprika. So once you understand what's in your kitchen, how much medicine is in your kitchen, now you realize that sometimes you ain't got to run off to the store. You got it in your kitchen. Now, if it's in like these little tin cans, like there's certain companies, I don't want to say the name, that blue and white spices. Most of them got rust on the inside of them. They got heavy metals, chemicals. You got to get high end types of spices where you can rub them in your hands and feel the energy and smell the electricity. So when I'm in the kitchen, I'm tasting things and smelling them before I place them in the pot. Everything that I cook is medicine. Every food. Today I made mung beans. What did I put in the mung beans? I put black seed in the mung beans. Black seed? Yeah, black seed. Nigella sativa. That's what a lot of the people of the East, especially Indians, put in their food to make it a medicine. Nigella sativa. I just took those beans and turned them into a super medicine. Now, mung beans by themselves are one of the most powerful beans because, first of all, it has a green outside. The skin is green. It's one of the only beans that has chlorophyll. You need chlorophyll to run your melanocytes, to fire up your carbon. You need chlorophyll. You need green. Most of the beans don't have chlorophyll. But mung beans, they have a thing in India where you go on a fast and you just use mung beans and basmati rice for like a month. That's all you eat. It's a whole spiritual sojourn, and it takes you to another realm. Just those two things. Some folks they don't even touch the rice. They just use the mung beans. Mung beans have special power. Now you take the mung beans and you add a black seed. You add also regular you use what's the name of it? You got black seed, Nigella sativa. You want to first start with onions and garlics and leeks. You start with a base because onions and garlics and leeks, they actually have a lot of sulfur in them. These are sulfur plants. Sulfur is what helps to boost and align your immune system. Sulfur, they use it in the old Wolfman, and they always kill the evil with sulfur. Just like they use silver and sulfur are always used to eradicate evil. So while you're cooking the food, you're aware of that it should be medicine. Your medicine should be food, and your food should be medicine. You're not just cooking. You're not using super high heat unless you're using a what they call a pressure cooker. That's different because a pressure cooker does a whole alchemical process itself. And I always cook those beans and things in the pressure cooker. You see? But a lot of beans are not really necessarily best for humans. Black eyed peas, mung beans, lentils, all the small beans are really good. Your body absorbs them quickly. And we put them in the pressure cooker to burn off the lectins that are in the skin. The lectins are these toxins that are in the skins of a lot of plants and in seeds, and beans are like a seed. And that is to protect the plant from you eating it. The plants are protecting themselves. So when we use a pressure cooker, that pressure cooker, because of its temperature and its heat and the pressure that it's cooking under, burns off a lot of the lectins. A lot of foods have lectins. A lot of your natural health foods are high in lectins. The skins of tomatoes, high in lectins. The seeds of tomatoes, high in lectins. Cashews, high in lectins. Peanuts, high in lectins and mycotoxins and funguses. So when we're cooking, we're also looking at this food, which may not be as wholesome as it could be because of where it came from and what season you bought it in. You may not have gotten it from a farmer's market. Those seasonings that you're using as medicines are actually bringing up the quantum energy in it. They're tapping into other realms. You see? So cooking in the kitchen is a ceremony or a ritual if you're doing it and you're focusing that way, because you're going to eat it. And you are what you eat. So we're doing this class, and the class is called Spice It Up. It starts this Saturday. And I'll be talking about, in each class, we're going to choose like 6 herbs from the kitchen, and we're going to break them down, how they work physically, how to use them in a culinary way, but most importantly, a metaphysical way. How many of you know about the powers of cinnamon? Cinnamon. Did you know that the average commercial cinnamon is not even true cinnamon? It's related. And you could tell because you know how you have cinnamon sticks? Most cinnamon sticks are very hard. The true cinnamon, which is cinnamon Ceylon, which is from Sri Lanka, because the old name of Sri Lanka is Ceylon. That is the original cinnamon, and it's very soft. You could take it and crumble it with your fingers. It has a very bright smell. That's the cinnamon where the research on diabetes and blood pressure and all of those things were done. When you're using cinnamon Ceylon. So you might hear cinnamon does this in the herbal book. They didn't tell you which cinnamon, did they? They may not have even known which cinnamon. All cinnamon is not the same. True cinnamon or cinnamon Ceylon is powerful because it's an antibacterial. You got a stomach virus or something like a lot of that's going on right now because folks done ate some of this avian, I got to be careful. Some people have eaten some things right now that they keep telling you is wow. Anyway, so let's say you have the runs. You take apple and you take cinnamon Ceylon and sprinkle it on the apple, slice it thin and put it in the oven. The apple, when it cooks, the pectin comes up. It brings out pectin, which is like a substance that's kind of like jelly-like. That pulls the bile together, that pulls the liquid into it. And then you use cinnamon because cinnamon is antibacterial. A lot of products have cinnamon in them because that's the antibacterial part, and it doesn't destroy your friendly bacteria. I mean, your friendly bacteria. The microbiome is very delicate. That is the environment of the gut. Also, keep in mind that the spices that you're using have a lot to do with who you are and your mood. Because food creates the mood. Whatever you eat and how easily or how hard it is to digest has a lot to do with who you are. Because most of your thoughts begin in your gut. Your first brain is your gut. Did you know this? It looks just like the brain, doesn't it? Same type material. That is your first brain, your gut feeling. We talk about that in the kinesiology class. If you eat food and it hasn't been spiced correctly, it doesn't have the right frequency, it doesn't have the right seasoning, your body goes into emergency to try to break it down. When your gut and your digestive tract is in emergency, it sends a signal to your brain through the vagus nerve that says we're in emergency and we're trying to survive. When you're in survival, you're also in greed. You do anything to live. People who are in survival mode will do anything. You can't trust them because the message that they're getting is something's out to get me. Something's going to hurt me. I'm in survival mode. You remember what happened before. So you always got this vibe that's just disagreeable and you're acidic. You got an acidic personality. You're ready to burn things up. You're ready to blow things away. Everything's a conspiracy. Everything is you're a victim of the environment, victim of the people, victim of the conquerors. You're a victim. You're a victocrat. And it has a lot to do with what you eat. And eating for us is a powerful thing because almost every family celebration, every event includes food. We used to be very careful about who cooked the food. Now you're running off to a fast food restaurant. This stuff isn't even really cooked. It's prepared. But that food is creating a mood inside you. And that mood is going to your brain and causing you to feel a certain way and to identify a certain way. When you use certain powerful medicinal seasonings in the correct order, it changes everything. It changes who you are. So, this class, spice it up. We're going to be talking about the medicines in your kitchen. I'm going to read what it says here. Join us as we learn about the life-enhancing natural pharmacy already in your kitchen that your doctor failed to mention. In each class, because there's going to be several classes, in each class, we will discover and explore the medicinal, culinary, and metaphysical properties of herbs, spices, and the natural medicines that are right in your spice rack. There is so much medicine in everybody's house right now. Not everybody. Some folks don't have too much. I've been to folks' houses. They only got like 3 things: salt, vinegar, and pepper.
Oh, man. Hey, let me ask you this real quick, Doc. Let me put this on the screen. I want to get your opinion about something, because you're talking about, eating does bring a lot of people together. And there was a study that came out, and I want to get your opinion on it. It was shared on Instagram. They said, let me get my thing off of here. All right. Couples that do unhealthy activities together, like eating junk food, feel closer than those who choose healthier activities. A recent study reveals that couples who engage in unhealthy activities together, like eating junk food, tend to feel a stronger emotional bond compared to those who choose healthy alternatives. Sharing indulgent moments, such as enjoying fast foods or snacks, often creates a sense of camaraderie and mutual enjoyment. These activities can foster positive emotions and reinforce the connection between partners, highlighting the importance of shared experiences and building intimacy. I'm a end it there. But they're just reiterating the point that they already made. But Doc, let me ask you this, Doc, because I know emotions play a huge part in how our DNA responds. This is, that's epigenetics, a signal from the environment. That signal is often your emotional reaction to what's going on in your environment. This study is basically, so a couple, let's say we want to watch a movie. It's not a conscious movie, Doc. It may be just a regular movie. It may be a Martin Lawrence movie or something like that. And we're eating pizza, but we're happy like a mother, you know what I'm saying? Like a mother eating this pizza, watch this movie. Do you think that fosters a healthier relationship than a couple who may not watch TV because they feel like it's mind programming? They may watch a quick lecture on YouTube together, something like that, but they don't spend these moments together, like engaging in snacks or eating ice cream late at night. Hey, babe, let's eat ice cream 1 a.m. Do you feel as though that this causes, like they say, people with unhealthy activities to maybe last longer than people who live a quote unquote boring, conscious, healthy life?
First of all, this is a lie. You can just look at the picture and look at the vibe and look at the colors, the blue.
Yes.
She's got on a certain blue. They're sitting there. You know what I'm saying? This whole thing is created by the people who want or desire you to go buy more junk food. Yeah, you'll be happier for a little while, but you don't last as long. You can't live long on fast food. Fast food destroys, it sends a message to your telomeres that says we don't like each other. We don't like our life. We don't enjoy life. We're not living. We're living in survival mode. And see, people who are in survival mode, they really have great relationships in survival mode. They talk junk. They talk smack. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people gravitate. If your mindset is all in disagreeable thoughts, and you meet somebody who is also in disagreeable thoughts, you're going to be tight because you can both reinforce the bullshit. You can reinforce the sickness, the imbalance, and the trauma.
Right.
And the scarcity, and the lack and limitation. So you eat this trash. And they probably said, well, they have a credible, intimate life for a short time. But what's happening is their body their telomeres inside their genes, or the ends of their genes, are receiving a signal that says we are not here for the long run. We are not here to thrive. We're only here to survive. If you're surviving, you're selfish, you're fighting. It's all about greed. Remember I said earlier, when you're in survival, it's all about greed. That commercial was made by the people who are now losing more money than ever because so many people are choosing a healthy way of living. You can't tell me that two people who are eating healthy, right, and they're not watching the regular news and the regular programming that's just making them dumber and dumber. You can't tell me that those people have a better life. But it may be better on the farm because they live on the farm as sheep. And they're waiting for the farmer to feed them and give them some hay with no nutrition. This is a lie. They got so many statistics they can make up. This is the artificial intelligence. They tell you how happy people are at Christmas. Christmas and Thanksgiving is one of the most depressing times of the year for people all over the world. It's the number one time where people kill themselves or fight or go to they start cutting a turkey and snap and decide to cut everybody in the family up. It happens every year. Just the dying Christmas tree, the dead pine, putting out the pheromones of the dead pine. We get together and we're so happy. Even New Year's. New Year's, they let you know they're killing you on New Year's because they're dropping the crystal ball. How are we going up into a new year if you're dropping the crystal? And when you actually do that, like when when you look at people, somebody looks at you and they look you up and down. Did you know when a person looks another person up and down, it unzips their auric field? Just a person taking their eyes and going down on you. It unzips your auric field. We can prove it. If you're not zipped all the way up and locked in, there's a way to zip yourself up energetically where you can't be unlocked. But if they're dropping the ball and you follow your eyes going down, this is mass hypnosis. And they got you counting down. How are you going to a new year counting backwards? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year. It ain't no new year. All these people are corralled together to create this energy to celebrate something that's not really truly real in the universe, not in nature. People are being corralled. They're corralled to believe in all these commercials because that is what they do. And language is about commerce and war. It's about hurting people and getting people to believe in something that's not real. That's the Santa Claus, the holidays, the tooth fairy. And then you eat this food, especially the sugars, which shut down your cognition. Because if you eat a lot of processed sugar or any processed sugar, your hypothalamus stops working. Or let's say it doesn't stop totally, but you turn it way down. What does the hypothalamus do? That's the temple up in the head. That is the thing that tells you if you've had enough of something or not. That gland, the hypothalamus, is the one that lets you know I've had enough of this bullshit or I'm with it. It tells you whether something is solid or not. It gives you like a yardstick. It lets you see, or it helps you choose. Did you know that processed sugar, white and brown, shuts down the hypothalamus? It also shuts down the pituitary. Doesn't turn it off, but turns it way down. What's the pituitary do? It makes oxytocin, which is the love hormone. So now you might be saying you love somebody on Valentine's. You done gave him some candy. You don't love him. You're trying to kill him. Everybody knows that sugar is one of the greatest explosives in the world. Sugar factories blow up all the time and everybody in there dies. It's like damn near a mini atomic bomb. It's so powerful. It's a destructive poison. But, you got to bring candy to show love. We sit there and eat. We ate candy. We made love all night. They made love out of what? Out of poison, out of lies, out of fairy tales. You see, so what happens is we have made so many agreements with these holidays and we call it love. This is when we get together with our loved ones. Most people are not really having love. They're having like a lot. They don't really like each other. They're actually parasitic. Most of the people are eating each other. And there's a government or people above them that's eating them. And even your government isn't the most high. We're eating ourselves alive. And we're agreeing to eat together and be in lies together, live in a lie together. We agree. And people that are disagreeable, they come together. And mad, they come together. People that are joyful and loving, they come together. If you're angry and upset all the time and you're having a traumatic relationship with your whole life, then you go meet somebody who's talking something that's agreeable, you probably won't be too tight. Oh man, he crazy. He talking about go out and meditate and go down to the 9 Ether Fest and go check out Brother Rich. No, I'm not doing that, man. I don't want to hear nothing agreeable. And you create this mindset. And even if you check out most of the people who are disagreeable, go check out what they're eating. Go taste their food. Go in the house and smell what they're cooking. What does that smell? Well, I'm cooking some chicken. You want to stick around? No, something don't smell right. Because a lot of people have lost the sense of disgust. Look up the natural sense of disgust. They talk about this in psychiatry, where all of a sudden, over many years of you accepting some bullshit or something that's acidic or something that's poison, after a while you begin to agree that you like it. Because after you've been oppressed for so long, you become oppressive either to yourself or others. And you agree to the oppression. And when somebody comes to try to get rid of your oppressor, you may protect your oppressor. A lot of folks are protecting their oppressors. And they're depressed and repressed and suppressed, and they eat that way. I'm saying if we go in the kitchen together and we start looking at each of these, what we call spices, and giving it energy, there's a way to give the dill energy. Do you know how powerful dill is? If you know how to give the dill energy, first of all, when you do this thing, it smells better. It's the whole thing you do. And when you sprinkle it, you don't throw it. You have to have a whole thing. You're casting energy. You're putting your energy with it. And when you put your energy in it, what are you thinking about? You're thinking about being grateful in advance for what you would like to have. You're already there. So you're cooking towards what you desire. You're cooking towards success. You're spicing up your life and your food, moving towards what you desire. You want to be healthy and wealthy and wise? Starts in that kitchen. Starts with what you're choosing to eat. You eat trash, you're going to be trash because you are what you eat. So when this class that we're starting on Saturday, we're going to be teaching people some very basic principles that they forgot because grandma and grandpa couldn't tell them or didn't tell them or had forgotten, or they became so deeply entrenched in the church that the church said, y'all better not talk about that stuff because that's that stuff. You better not be doing no magic with food. Food is magical. Water, everything can take on the energy of what you put into it. But first, you need to know what is the potential of the food. So if it's bay leaf, what's bay leaf all about? Bay leaf has been used for thousands of years. They use it in ceremonies. They use it in rituals. What is bay leaf? Why am I putting bay leaf in my beans? What is the power of bay leaf? Not just the power on a culinary level, but a metaphysical level. Because see, that's what I'm into, metaphysical herbalism. You see? So it's each thing and how you project your energy into it. Each idea, you have to bring it alive, but you have to be courageous and be ready to be yourself and not do what everybody else is telling you to do and be able to listen to the universe. So a lot of folks, they have trouble with this, Brother Rich. And the one reason people a lot of times can't choose for themselves because they don't have enough iron. Iron makes you strong. Iron helps you with courage. Iron helps you withstand the drama. Iron helps to carry oxygen and nutrients to your cells. But guess what? There's very little iron in our soil, especially in North America. Most of the iron is around the equator because of the over farming and the topsoil's gone. We don't have very healthy soil unless you're dealing with a gardener or a farmer who knows how to make healthy soil. There's a lot of them. My brother Eugene Cook, over at Grow Where You Are. Go check them out. Grow Where You Are. Grow Where You Are. Somebody put that in there. Grow Where You Are. Grow Where You Are. They got some amazing food. They're putting the energy into the soil. But without iron, nascent iron, then you are having issues making proper choices because you're not standing tall and strong because you're weak. And you care too much about what other people think. And your taste buds don't work correctly. Your smell, your senses are not online because everybody is suffering because you're not getting enough oxygen. What? Yes, iron. So one of the reasons we cook in iron pots is because you're getting trace amounts of the iron from that pot. Number one. Why am I going to cook in iron? So that I can have more iron. One of the plants that has a lot of nascent iron. Nascent means that particular mineral has been broken down, very small particles, and it's been broken down so that the plant can absorb it. So if you have like a big piece of iron pipe, you can't absorb that. Now, after many years that iron breaks down, you know what I'm saying? Or there's iron in the soil, then, you know, that iron now can be, you know, absorbed into the plant. So there's certain plants that have lots of iron. One of the plants that has more iron than any other plant is sarsaparilla. Sarsaparilla. Y'all heard of it? Powerful, powerful, powerful herb that helps you stand and be in yourself. The average person in North America has iron deficiency. That's how they get to corral you up when you're not ready to be the black sheep. And even when you are the black sheep, you'll run out there and be involved in something that, you know, is not really for you. You just found with another crowd. But you got to find out who you are. So what we did was we took all the iron-rich plants that we could find, and we created this thing called Iron Essential. It's hard to keep it on the shelves because when folks take it, first of all, the flavor. Remember, the flavor is really important. The flavor is extremely important. So what we do is we make sure that it tastes at a place where it reminds you of love. So Iron Essential, if you're cooking and you know that you're iron deficient, then you'll use more plants that have iron and magnesium and things in it. So green vegetables. There's a way to spice up your green vegetables so that they taste really good. There's 3 things that you can put in any greens and make them taste amazing. Besides your regular garlic and a lot of folks don't use garlic because they heard it was bad for you, but there's times and places for everything. But once you learn how to spice things up, then you can begin to open them up in such a way where your body can tap into the minerals, because that's what your body really would like, is minerals. So in our class we're doing this Saturday, we're going to teach the sacred science of the spices in your kitchen. You have them. Most people have them. Or when you go to the store, you can start looking for them. Because folks don't know what would you use dill for, Dr. B? Why would I use kelp? When do you use kelp? You use kelp in your food, Dr. B? You use dulse? What is dulse? What is that? These are considered flavors or spices, but they also have high amounts of minerals. Because kelp itself has, people will tell you, scientifically, it most likely, it depends on where it comes from, has more minerals than sea moss. It's another seaweed, though. Dulse has lots of iron. It even looks like iron. It has a dark reddish, almost rust color. When you start being able to identify what's already in your house, you don't have to rush out and buy certain things. There's things you can use in emergencies. When you get cut, do you know what to do when you get cut? If you get a burn in the kitchen, do you know what to do when you get a burn in the kitchen? What do you use? A lot of folks have no idea. The thing that you learn that you use in the kitchen for a burn, it's so simple, and you would never think of it. I haven't heard anybody mention it. But these were the things that I learned from the teachers that I'm now sharing with folks that, who are ready to go to the next level. If you're ready to go to the next level, come on, invest in our course. It's going to be at least 4 parts. It starts this Saturday at 11. You go to elevationtime.com, elevationtime.com. See, some people said ice water. You think ice water is good for a cut?
Yeah, I heard toothpaste when I was coming up.
And what kind of toothpaste? Fluoride?
Yeah, at that time, that was the only toothpaste people was using. So yeah, I think I
Think
tried
about that.
it. I don't know if it worked or not. I don't know if my mom was playing tricks on me, but I tried it before. You never heard of that, Doc? The toothpaste on a burn? You never heard of that?
I never heard of that one, but I know what would happen if you put toothpaste on a burn. I know what I can look at. I'm already looking at the science of it. That is injecting fluoride directly into your bloodstream. Just brushing your teeth with fluoride is bad enough.
Right.
That's part of a secret program to help people be sick, especially people of color. Fluoride?
Somebody they saying aloe vera.
Aloe vera is good. That's to help it heal.
Yeah.
But if it's burning right now, you need to cool it down right now. There's something that you could do. It could be a bad burn. And there's something that you should keep around the house for people who have been burned really bad. We'll talk about it. Make sure you come to the classes because we're going to talk about a lot of things that you may have never looked at before.
Is that the banana peel?
Now, banana peels is a whole other thing. Did you know banana peels are amazing for skin issues, cuts, and pimples? Mosquito bites? Take the inside of the banana.
Right. That's what I heard, yeah.
And rub that on it, and all of a sudden, because there's an acid in there.
Mm-hmm.
There's an acid, and when your skin is having issues, usually it doesn't have enough acid. Your skin is supposed to be acidic. The inside of your mouth is supposed to be acidic. Parts of your digestive tract are supposed to be acidic until you eat something that the body knows how to turn off and on acid and alkaline. No matter what you eat, it knows what to do usually. If you have the right mineral balance, if you have the right supplements, you see. But banana peel is amazing, even as a moisturizer. You take banana peel and put it on your face, on your skin. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Because it brings the acid, it puts acid on your skin. Acid needs, and most people have yeast. They have a yeast infection. And if it's on the skin where it can be seen, put banana peel on there. So these are natural medicines. Now, if you're just getting a regular banana now, and this is not an organic banana, and it's been sprayed with hundreds of chemicals and gases and who knows what, then of course that may not be good. So you want to, it'd be best to get it at least organic banana or get one of the original bananas. There's several. You go to the farmers markets, they got some of the original bananas, the small ones. Caribbean, we know about all those bananas that are natural because almost all the bananas we buy commercially is one plant. They got one plant they cloned and made almost all the bananas. That's a whole nother story.
Yeah. Well, man, it sounds like you're gonna have a good class this weekend, man.
How many of y'all like young coconut?
I just bought some yesterday because I'm on a fast with KT. I just got some young coconut. Don't tell me nothing bad. Don't tell me. Don't tell me nothing bad.
Tell KT I said what's happening, man.
All right.
Did you know that the inside, the meat of the young coconut is an extremely powerful skin healer?
I just ate some today. Wow. It's funny.
If you take the skin, the meat out and put it on problem areas, it begins to feed them immediately. I know somebody who was Caucasian who was burned really bad, and the Maroons down in the islands found him on the beach. And they dragged him in, and his skin was burnt because he had, he didn't have no protection from the sun, And they put coconut meat all over his body. And within 7 days, he had new skin. And he had deep burns. He was like fried. There's so much medicine just in food that we eat. Food should be your medicine.
Right.
You see?
This is a good show, man. This is a good show, Doc.
Food has to become our medicine again. And like I say, when I started thinking about it, I'm like, well, people got medicine right in their house. They got powerful herbs that you may never have to go out and rush to buy a bunch of herbs. If you may already have it in your seasoning, cabinet. So we're going to talk about that and try and teach folks And some folks say, well, I already know. Well, you may just want to check out because there may be some different things you didn't hear. And you may be able to add to what we're doing. Somebody said something about fish scales. What are they using fish scales for?
Yo, speaking of healing stuff, all right, Doc, this is a wild question, but I gotta ask you this one before we get out of here. All right, now I know you've experimented with drugs in your day.
Nah.
I don't know if you ever tried dust before.
Who? What
dust?
Angel dust?
Angel dust. Yeah, angel dust. Angel dust. All right, so I knew a dude who used to do angel dust. And I'm probably like 19, and this is the dude that taught me how to make beats. Well, where was he from? He was from Peru, I think, Spanish dude. And he got high on angel dust one time, and he was like, I need milk, and he poured milk on himself, and he felt better after he poured milk on himself from being high on angel dust. What the hell? Do you know anything about that? That was some wild shit I seen.
It was the fat. He needed the fat to help absorb, because see, when you're on angel dust, your energy is moving, in an erratic way. So things like, a fat. Did he drink it or just poured it on himself?
Poured it on himself and drank both.
Yeah. See, so he needed more fat to absorb some of the PCP. PCP, depending on where you got it from. Do you know what it was? It was elephant tranquilizer and embalming fluid.
Shit.
Who? What?
Damn.
Embalming fluid and elephant tranquilizer or other animal tranquilizers was PCP. And, people used to be on that PCP. They'd be out butt naked, pulling up telephone poles and breaking mailboxes in half, and the cops, they would break the handcuffs.
Yeah, they'd be strong as a mug, boy, off of that.
Tapped into the superpower. Out of this world. But what we are, and that strength is in us. That's why I say iron is important. So, like with the iron essential that we have at Elevation, right? It helps you become powerful, but without having this drug in your body, without you having some other kind of experience. Right. And, those type of things, and being able to use the products that are natural. And the average person, man, do you know why we're so sick? Because we were raised in a world of parasites. The people who conquered, the people who destroy are parasitic. And then we have the internal parasites eating us. We got the external parasitic people. This is why the parasite cleansing is so important. To get back home to yourself, you've got to be able to get rid of these parasites. And a lot of people have what we call walk-ins. And I'm going to finish it on this piece. Walk-ins. You know what a walk-in is? Look up. I don't even know if I should say the name on the air. Walk-ins are beings that have walked into your life when you were going through a heavy level of trauma. They have actually living with you. It's a type of parasite. There are so many of these parasites right now, these beings that have come here that's taken over people's bodies, that you think you're you, but a lot of times you're haunted by this thing that has taken over you. A lot of people have it. People, we just did the collective cleanse on, our parasite cleanse. We did a whole month together. People they said they felt like something came out of them, a being. People actually saw beings. People have seen this, beings leaving them. We're not just talking about parasite bugs. When I talk about systemic parasites and superbugs, we're talking about a whole nother level of being that's living within you. There's 4 things that will that will cause a walk-in to leave your body. There's 4 ingredients that we put in the elevated total body program. Why do we put it in there? Because most people are haunted. Even if they get conscious, unconscious still got them, or subconscious still got them. They want to get rich, but broke still got them. A lot of people want to be smart, but ignorance still got them. It's because they are not alone. They're actually carrying ghosts, and some of them have been passed down in the family. When you understand that there's these beings that actually have taken whole societies down. There's one being called the vamp or the flyer that has taken every major society down because the people become erratic and they do self-harm and they fight each other and they lose the hive mentality. And all of a sudden, when you have a hive collapsing, everything dies. When you start doing things to the woman, the queen, and you've reduced her to the level of how we're reducing women today and how women have reduced themselves, the society's dying. It's eating itself. It's going to be entropy. Entropy is always what? Moving towards destruction. Entropy is always moving towards destruction. Always moving towards chaos. The more chaos, the closer you get to entropy, where everything, it doesn't explode, it implodes. We're at that point right now. This thing is over. But guess what? Something else is starting. And a lot of what's starting is going to have to do with who you are between now and 2027. Who you are, because in 2027, we have what we call the energetic pole flip. Everything changes in 2027. If you wait to 2027, then you're going to miss it. You got to start now. You got to start building your system up. You got to start detoxifying mentally, physically, and spiritually. Once you get rid of these certain parasites, I'm talking about not just the bugs in your colon, y'all. You're going to need flower essences, essential oils. You're going to need a magnetic resonance. We use light waves. We use all of these things in our program to help people wake up. Their taste buds wake up. They start acting different, cooking different. They smell different. They become brand new beings because the average person has been haunted and doesn't even know it. I could tell. A lot of my brothers and sisters talking about, Hotep, Dr. B, they're supposed to be conscious. Then they start talking some disagreeable talk, and their whole conversation is disagreeable. And it's all about what they did and what they're doing to us. This person is haunted because your subconscious can't perceive or conceive of anything outside of itself. So if you have these enemies, they're actually in you because you're perceiving them to be bad. So that means that something in you is magnetizing yourself to look towards that, to be in mass distraction and have nothing but disagreeable talk 90% of the time, to talk about the problems and no solutions. This is a certain type of parasite it's a spiritual parasite, an energetic parasite that takes everybody out. That's why we created the Elevated Total Body Program at elevationtime.com. Elevationtime.com. This is why we say you're going to need iron, nascent iron. You're going to need things like the Shilajit so you could be strong. But before all that, in that kitchen, that's where home is really at, in your kitchen. Who's making your food? We're going to need to learn to make food, create food, prepare food for ourselves. Every cut that you cut on lettuce is important. Did you know that? Every slice of the lettuce is important. You just chopping it up just so you can hurry up and eat? Because the plant is conscious. And it is aware of how you're treating it. The Secret Life of Plants is a perfect example. Plants are super intelligence. You're about to eat a beet. How are you cutting it? What are you thinking while you're cooking in that kitchen? What energy are you giving the spices? Cloves are very powerful. What are you thinking just before you take the cloves? You could use cloves for a lot of things. You got a toothache, right? Didn't you have a toothache for a minute there, bro? I said, get some cloves. Put some cloves in your mouth near the tooth. It begins to kill some of the bacteria and numb the pain. You need to take it to the next level. Nutmeg. Nutmeg is almost like it's an opiate, damn near. So there's little things that you can use in emergencies to help get you balanced, so you ain't got to run off to somebody else who basically just looking at you as money in commerce, somebody who really cares. So there are things that are in our home, in our kitchens, where we cook that needs to be tightened up. We got to tighten that up now. We got to start eating at home more. We got to start making love out of the things how are they going to tell you that the people that eat junk food, I'm still shocked. People that eat fast junk food have better love lives. They're happier. Happy is a scam. Do you really want to be happy? Happy is means a happening. It's brief. It's temporary. Happy. Make them happy. Joy is something that no one can take. Joy is something you have inside. Joy is something that you would like to experience with other people who are of like minds. Making love and being in joy together, you will create the most powerful things. Just the act of being in love and making love, right? And focusing on what we desire based on what we just ate. You're talking about some sexy, some stuff to make your sex life hot. It's some stuff in your kitchen that'll take you to a whole another level in the nightlife. And there's also things, check it out, Brother Rich, that you never mix. There are spices that argue with each other that you should never, ever put on your food at the same time.
Give us an example.
Do you know if you use salt and pepper and it is rock salt, you just created a poison? This is rock salt because that salt is only sodium. Now, remember earlier I mentioned something about pepper and how pepper activates turmeric.
Right.
Pepper, cayenne pepper, all those peppers are activators. So it stimulates energy and it causes your blood vessels to open up really wide. The rock salt is only sodium. Salt attracts water. Salt attracts water. When you are attracting water and now you are only injecting sodium in your body, you dry out. You are activating the sodium, but only sodium by itself is a toxin. It's got to be with magnesium. It's got to be with, it's other minerals, calcium. It's a whole group of them that work together that tells your body everything is good and open up because your body is looking for water that's kind of like ocean water. Some of that same consistency of ocean water. Maybe diluted though. But that's the kind of water your body is looking for. That's what they call structured water. If you mix regular salt, which most people do, and pepper, there's a problem. Here's another thing. Let me say this real quick. If you use sea salt, that's a whole nother thing because sea salt has the energy of the ocean. It has the right minerals in the right balance, the right trace minerals. Here's another piece. Did you know that most black pepper is toxic? Black pepper. Most of the black pepper that you buy that's already ground up is full of mycotoxins. It's full of poisons, full of molds. It's been sitting on the shelf and it's opened up to the environment and it sucks toxins into it. If you take they have those spices that are in the cans. I don't want to say the brand. They're in the can. If you look at black pepper that's been sitting for more than 5 or 6 years and take all the black pepper out and look at the can, it's all rusted inside. There's rust in there because there's moisture in there, because there is a chemical reaction happening and there's mold and living creatures as a whole environment living in the black pepper.
You talking about McCormick?
I didn't want to say that name because that could get me in trouble. But why would you buy? Allegedly. Why would you buy your wonderful spices in an aluminum can?
Right.
It's aluminum. This shuts down the nervous system. But now if you go get black pepper and you get the peppercorns and get them organic, and you make one of those little grindy things, and you are grinding it and you're opening them up as you do it, that's different. Totally different. So if you're using the proper type of black pepper and you're using sea salt, it could be Himalayan sea salt. One of the most absorbable salts is the Celtic salt. It's very soft. But the Himalayan salt, you got to be careful with that too, because a lot of that is not even the Himalayan salt. The Himalayans don't know nothing about what you're talking about, because ain't nobody been to get it in a while. They're making it somewhere now with, they can color it and make it. So you got to be able to test things. That's where the kinesiology, that's why I say go to the Elevation Time and take the kinesiology course, because you can muscle test and see if something is authentic. The word organic don't mean nothing. What does that mean? That means it could have 70-something chemicals in it, because Kellogg's and all them wanted to be involved with organics. So they changed the standards. So organic, free range. What does that mean? Free range. That means instead of 2 feet, the animal gets to walk around in 3 or 4 feet. Grass fed. Yeah, they fed it some grass, and they also fed it some cardboard and some soybeans and some other stuff and some animal parts and monkey brains and whatever else is left over. We got to be careful. These words don't mean anything. It's the testing. It's the body being able to be tuned in so you could feel it. So be careful with your salt and pepper. If it's the cheap salt and the cheap pepper, you're about to poison yourself. But it ain't going to take, it's not going to happen quick. It's slow. You start getting arthritis. You start getting diabetes. You start calling it my diabetes, my heart disease, my blah, 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 because you endorsed it. You inducted it. You brought it in. So we've got to have another level of testing. So one, you take the course called The Body Never Lies, so you can learn the muscle testing. Next, we're taking the course starting on Saturday, which has to do with how to choose what's in your kitchen. I'll even talk about some things about cooking. People know that, if you've ever eaten Dr. B's food, I cook. I could have opened a restaurant a long time ago, but it's a lot of time and energy. But being able to cook and know what temperatures to cook at, sometimes we're cooking too fast. A lot of times we're putting grease and we're putting animal flesh that has water in it and we're frying it. Do you know what that creates? Acrylamide. What is acrylamide? Same thing that women put on their fingernails. It's an acrylic because of the oil and the animal, the grease and the water, and you're cooking it really fast. Acrylamide. It's an acrylic. This is a serious poison. Most animals eat it, would die right away. But we've got to this point where we could withstand eating some trash for a long time. And then, as the commercial said, go make sex and have love and be in trash together, living in the swamp. A lot of folks have joined They Live. They've become creatures. A lot of folks are zombies, just dead, waiting on dirt. So we can't look at that. We got to figure out who we are individually.
Definitely.
You had another question, didn't you?
No, we'll wrap it up with that, man. You dropped some good gems tonight, man. It was a good show, man. I hope that people appreciate your approach and the gems that you dropped, man. And I wish you the best this weekend, man, because this is some good stuff here.
Well, it is our highest choice right now that we give folks things that they can actually use.
Right.
So, when we do lectures and all of that, we're talking at the people, telling them about things. But when we do classes, we're actually teaching, giving folks things. In a workshop, you're actually learning something you should use. So you bring your pens, your pencils, and always, and here's another thing before I go. When you take a class, bring an actual pen or a pencil and paper. Did you know that when you're typing on your tablet or in your computer, that your subconscious has no idea how to record this because it's all the same button? Even though you have little letters on there, there's no kinesthetic, auditory, visual experience. When you have a kinesthetic, audio, visual experience, it goes deep down into your core and you can retain it better. That's why they took handwriting out of school. That's why they took learning your signature. Remember when we have to learn your signature? This was a serious thing. That's a sign of your nature. They took that out. You don't need that. Just put a line. Just, hit right here, But when you are really ready to learn, we make it kinesthetic, auditory, and visual. So as you take this class on Saturday, go to elevationtime.com, bring your pencil or a pen and paper, and we're going to do some writing exercises so that now you can retain at a deeper level. So now you can remember it. A lot of people can't remember stuff because they haven't placed it in the proper place in their mind. It's got to be kinesthetic, auditory, and visual, and then it's got to be repeated. That's how you know things by heart. We're going to need to know herbs and ways of cooking and all of these things by heart. So in an emergency, it's on automatic because emergencies are always waiting to happen. But let's put ourselves in urgency. Let's treat ourselves like royalty and stop just talking about we royalty. Let's act like royalties. And a lot of people say, well, Dr. B, I can't cook. Well, come, we'll show you. We'll help you. And there's people in the community that can teach you to cook. We're going to need to know how to make clothes again. Sewing is important. Cooking is important. All of these basic things that we kind of got away from. Oh, you're going to need this because you may not be able to get to the mall. In an emergency, you got to be able to hunker down and handle your business and have all the supplies right there. That's what time it is. So I'll see y'all on Saturday for the class. Spice it up. Medicines in your kitchen. Go to elevationtime.com. Get on the email list too when you go there, because when you get on the email list, we're going to send you an email and let you know all the things that are happening. And we've got some amazing herbal products. Check out the Shilajit. It's off the chain. Check out the Iron Essential and the Elevated Total Body Program. That puts you in the mindset of winning. Let's become winners. Let's not be followers. Let's be leaders and winners. I'll see y'all on Saturday.
Hey, I want to take this time to thank Dr. B once again for coming on with us this Tuesday night. Haven't seen y'all in a while. Been away for about 4 days. So I want to thank y'all for tuning in tonight. I'll be back tomorrow. I don't know exactly who, but I will be back tomorrow. Everybody have a wonderful night. Shout out to King Simon in the chat also. He's been sharing Dr. B's links the whole night. So you could click on the link that King Simon is sharing. But I'll see you tomorrow. Everybody have a good night. Peace.
Travel light.